Hello and good to see you. I'm Colonel Dan Walrath, Strike 6, and you're watching the Strike Zone. Air assault, strike.
Hey, Strike Brigade, how you doing? I'm Sergeant Joe Padula with the 2nd Brigade Public Affairs Office, and this is Strike Zone. Strike Zone is the Brigade's TV show dedicated to keeping you, the viewer, up to date with all the great things the Strike Brigade is doing right here at Fort Campbell. And on this episode, I'm going to introduce you to some pretty awesome things, like stories about joint operations and missions, segments like Hero of the Day, Guidance on the Fire, and Safety Sessions. We're also going to take a look back and pay our respects to the regiment's history, and of course everyone's favorite part of the show, the Strike Soldier Hometown Shoutouts. Yeah, so stick around and enjoy a show about the 101st, one and only, Strike Brigade. Absolutely.
I am Specialist Thomas Jacobs. I am from Fort Bragg, North Carolina. I'm with Bravo Company 2BS2B, and I'd like to give a shout out to Mi Madre.
I'm Sergeant Pierce with 175 Cav. I'd just like to give a shout out to my future wife Tamra and everybody back home in Richmond, Virginia.
Telling the soldier story is absolutely an honor, but by no means an easy gig. It takes dedication, long hours, and a lot of coffee. Bada bing. But Strike is very fortunate to have two correspondents within its ranks who know exactly what I'm talking about. Sergeant Lamisha Davis.
Hey, I'm Sergeant Lamisha Davis. Glad to be invading your screen.
And Sergeant Charlene Moeller.
Hi, thanks for joining us. We have a lot to share with you on this episode.
Hey, Sergeants, how you doing? You are going to be seeing and hearing from them often throughout the Strike Zone. It has been a pleasure to work with such professionals. Speaking of which, returning home from Eastern Afghanistan has been the leaders and soldiers of the Strike Advisory Teams. Sergeant Lamisha Davis has more.
2nd Brigade Combat Team was one of the first of its kind to deploy in special teams to advise and mentor Afghan security forces on taking the reins and responsibility for the security of their country, a major step towards ending the war. Their successful missions came to a close right here at Fort Campbell's Airfield, where friends and families gathered to welcome home their heroes. Phone calls, Skype chats, emails, and letters. Anything to feel close to their loved ones far away, but no longer. The Strike Advisory Teams of the 2nd Brigade Combat Team, 101st Airborne Division Air Assault, began welcoming home its heroes in November. Strike's command team was on hand to welcome home their heroes.
As I look into this cast of steely-eyed killers, traitors, warriors, I just want you to all remember that amongst you, there is a welcome home snuggle button. So back home, everybody here is ready to embrace you.
As well as friends, families, and fellow soldiers at Fort Campbell's Airfield. Plenty of hugs, kisses, and even new members of the family were there, no matter the time, day or night, to welcome home their soldiers. Local and national news outlets were also there to help share the proud moments with the nation. The Strike Advisory Teams were made up of company, troop, battery, battalion, squadron, and brigade-level leadership. They deployed to Afghanistan's Regional Command East in support of Operation Enduring Freedom in the spring of 2012 to oversee and advise the Afghan National Security Forces as they take over as the lead in combat operations in Afghanistan.
Winning in Afghanistan is advising and assisting the Afghan security forces so they can take full responsibility for their country. And that's precisely what the Strike Brigade did, and quite frankly, no one has done that better. So please give me another hand for these great soldiers.
While most came home to enjoy some well-deserved time off with their loved ones, others had a final mission of their own to complete. Operation Marriage Proposal. Status: complete success. 2nd Brigade Combat Team will have all its heroes together again on American soil as soon as Strike's advisory team from 1st Squadron, 75th Cavalry Regiment returns. Welcome home, Strike. For 2nd Brigade Combat Team, 101st Airborne Division Air Assault, I'm Army Sergeant Lanisha Davis.
Great story, Sergeant Davis, and there is no better sight than that of loved ones reuniting. Absolutely. All right, Strike, it's winter, and Fort Campbell may be considered in the South, but let me tell you, sometimes it feels more like South Brooklyn. Forget about it. But here to take care of us with some important information while in the cold is Strike's Lieutenant Colonel Townley Hedrick.
Hey, good morning, Strike. I'm Lieutenant Colonel Townley Hedrick, the DCO for the Great Strike Brigade. We want to talk a little bit about cold weather safety because Fort Campbell's in the middle of winter. Key is preparation. Key is preparation. As you dress appropriately, you can reference the Army's PRT manual. It's got a chart in there that tells you based on the activity that you're going to do and what the temperature is. It gives you recommendations for what you ought to wear. It's a great place to start deciding what layers you need for the appropriate weather and temperature. Even though you don't feel like drinking and you're not thirsty, you got to stay hydrated. That's how your body functions to keep itself warm. Utilize your battle buddy system. You and a buddy at least keep an eye on each other. If you get stranded or you get hurt somewhere, he can stay with you or he can know where you are and go get help if you are immobilized. So really hazardous when it's cold if you get immobilized and you're on your own and nobody knows where you are. So utilize your battle buddy system. When you finish your workout and you're hot and sweaty, you still got to do the proper cool down stretches to make sure you're getting ready for the next workout. Don't do those out in the cold for too long to the point where you're not getting anything out of the stretch, as well as you're letting your body chill out further than it should. So find some warmer places to do your cool down stretches during cold weather. Prepare your vehicle. Give a little bit of extra time. You're going to have to scrape the windows. You're going to have to keep a little bit of extra stuff in that car, a little food, a little bit of water in case you get stranded somewhere, but leave yourself the extra time to get where you need to go in case the roads are bad. Hey, this is Lieutenant Colonel Townley Hedrick, DCO for Strike Brigade, giving you your strike zone safety for cold weather. It's been a pleasure being with you here. Stay safe, stay warm.
Strike, sir. Good call on the bundling up. And not for nothing, your leadership has been vital to the strike mission. Good luck to you and your next rendezvous with destiny. Lieutenant Colonel Hedrick has recently been picked to be the 101st Division's Chief of Operations. Strike leading the way, absolutely. Okay, so it's a new year with new starts. Here are some of Strike's New Year's resolutions.
Hi, my name is Specialist Villarreal. I'm assigned to HAC 2nd and 502nd. And my New Year's resolution is to volunteer more in my community.
Hi, my name is PB2 Arbamus Jones, and my New Year's resolution is to be the best soldier that I can be at all times.
I'm Staff Sergeant Hubbard. I'm part of the BSTB. As 3 particularly, my New Year's resolution is to be more cognizant of the things I say in front of my kids. They repeat everything.
Hello, my name is PV2 Latia Spees. I'm from 2BSTB, and my New Year's resolution is to run faster, score higher on the PT test.
Hi, I'm PFC Juan Carlos Gonzalez from 2502, and my New Year's resolution is to be a sergeant.
Impressive goals, 2nd BCT, and best of luck to you with your strike illusions. Absolutely. Now, the stories coming from the Strike Brigade are pretty remarkable. They're filled with integrity, pride, and a sense of duty. And not for nothing, they gotta be heard. Here's the way you, the viewer, can see them all. The Strike Brigade is made up of high-speed soldiers with high-speed stories. And you gotta check them all out. For starters, if you're not a part of the Brigade Facebook page yet, you gotta get on board. Here you'll find Strike pictures, Strike videos, Strike comments, Strike conversations, and look at that. You can even watch the latest Strike Zone. Forget about it. And for you family members and loved ones back home, it's a great way to stay up to date with the unit's events. To become a part of it, log into your Facebook and in the search box type in 2nd Brigade Strike. That's 2ND Brigade Strike. And then when you see the black heart, click on it, and then click like. Easier than pie, whatever that friggin' means. While you are online, or even through your phone that's smart, follow the Strike Brigade on Twitter and get the command messages sent directly to you. Oh, roger that. Go to your Twitter account, then follow the 502nd at Strike BCT. That's the @ symbol, also known as the ampersand, then Strike BCT, all one word. No need to waste space. Also, from the Strike Studios to the Strike YouTube channel, the Strike PAO is putting out award-winning movies, documentaries, and videos that you gotta see. From here, watch full-length features like No Man Left Behind, the story about Strike's most recent Distinguished Service Cross soldier, and the 2-hour film, Combined Task Force Strike the Movie. Get the popcorn ready and put the phone on silent for this one, people. Absolutely. Just go to YouTube and in the search box, type in one word, Strike BCT. Then click on the Strike Channel logo and get ready to be Strikified. Hoofa! And you gotta look for your copy of the Brigade's magazine, The Heartbeat, which is a publication that is cover-to-cover Strike. You're gonna love this thing. In it, you'll find the Strike pictures and Strike stories of your Strike soldiers. Useful information and even words from Strike 6 himself. Absolutely, sir. You can soon find it on post, on the Strike portal, and on the Brigade's Facebook page. Get your copy today.
My name's Specialist Joseph Gilchrist. I'm with 2nd Battalion of the 502nd. Just want to give a shout out to my wife and everybody back home in Houston, Texas.
Hi, I'm Specialist Magnuson. Shout out to my parents in Hawaii with my sister and my family in Iowa.
I'm Private First Class Don Tyler Neblett, born Fort Campbell, Kentucky. I'm in Bravo Company 2 BSTB, and to all my family back home, thanks for your support and everything you've taught me over the years.
The 101st Airborne Division has two very important words at the end of its name: air assault. Now, air assault is the movement of ground-based military forces by vertical takeoff and landing aircraft. You know, birds. Recently, a Strike cavalry unit accomplished an extremely difficult team goal. Listen to Sergeant Lamisha Davis with this episode's Hero of the Day.
101st Airborne Division Air Assault. It's in the name. And Troop A of 1st Squadron, 75th Cavalry Regiment, 2nd Brigade Combat Team is living up to that name in a major way. Out of 77 Apache Calf Scouts, 62 have successfully completed Air Assault School. That's over 80% of the troop. Such an accomplishment earned them the Air Assault Excellence Streamer on January 17th, presented by Brigade Commander Colonel Dan Walrath. Deputy Squadron Commander Major Diogo Tavares broke down what it means for this troop in particular to accomplish 80%.
When you're talking about a unit like ours where it's not as big as an infantry company, there's a lot less soldiers, so 80%, every soldier counts. And so I think it's a great accomplishment, and it speaks volumes of what that troop has done. And hopefully what it really does is it gets the other troops motivated to strive for the same excellence.
Air Assault School is a 10-day course that challenges soldiers mentally and physically as they prepare for the ultimate air assault of rappelling from an airborne helicopter. Though the course is demanding, great memories are made, pride strengthened, and even some fears defeated, as Platoon Sergeant Zachary Hayden reflected on.
The fun part was probably the faster opening, the rappelling. It's a good way to defeat your fear of heights, but it's a blast once you get up there and get down. So it's a rite of passage, I think, into the 101st Airborne Division.
After receiving the streamer, Colonel Walrath shared with the troops how proud he is of their accomplishment and encouraged them to encourage each other and those around the brigade to strive for the same level of excellence. 101st Airborne Division Air Assault. It's not just a name. To these heroes, it's a way of life.
Much respect to you, Apache troop, and I gotta tell you, the streamer is looking real good on you. Forget about it. Now this 2013 is looking to be non-stop, and if last year was any indicator, it's going to be just as successful. Let's take a look at Strike's 2012 year in review.
Check on your teeth! Up!
Everyone outstanding. On this wonderful strike run today, you know, a little bit of motivation. Watch your soldiers up like a soldier.
Again?
Keep it strapped. That's why.
Air assault, strike.
Hi, my name is Salvador Placencia. I'm from Heber, California. I'd like to say hi to my mom, dad, my brother Louie, and my sister Diana. Tell them happy holidays, and I'll be home soon.
Hello, I'm PFC Sampley. I'm from Monterey, Tennessee, and I'd like to say hello to my mom, my grandma, and my cousins. And I hope you all have a good holiday.
Now that Strike has completed its deployment to Afghanistan, it is now readjusting back to life here at Fort Campbell. And knowing what is available and who is there for support is essential to mission complete. Here is Chaplain Megan Hodge with this episode's Guidance Under Fire.
Hi, my name's Chaplain Megan Hodge. I'm the 2nd Brigade Chaplain, and I just wanted to say welcome back to the Strike families. It's awesome to have you guys back, for the soldiers who redeployed, for your families who hung tough for the last 8-9 months. Thank you, and it's just a great time for everybody in Strike that you guys are home. A few things that I do want to talk about, though, is nobody expects redeployment to be easy. We know that there's typically a honeymoon phase where things are pretty good, probably for about the first 30 days. After that, like, the real world hits again, and reestablishing roles and figuring out who does what particular piece in the home can be a little bit challenging. And so the reminder is, don't just throw in the towel, don't give up, don't quit. You know, it takes work. It takes work to get reacquainted. It takes work to relearn each other, to re-understand the family dynamic. And so, you know, be patient. Listen more than you talk. Things like that will really help your family move forward. And the number one thing is, if you find yourself stuck, like, man, where do I go? What do I do now? Your chaplains are here to support you. Every battalion has a chaplain. The brigade chaplain, myself, exists to provide you information to help you guys get unstuck. If you're single, say you didn't come back to a family that's, you know, here waiting on you, and you go back to the barracks, there are things for you guys too. You're not forgotten, you're not left out. We have retreats coming up for you. We have a huge one this summer that's coming up, so make sure you talk to your local chaplain. Plus, we're planning events just right around the corner, literally in the next month or two, to get you guys out. Plus, there's all kinds of activities, sporting events, things like that we can help resource you with, link you up with, and just provide a little bit of extra comfort, because we understand what it's like in those barracks. We're here for you guys, and again, welcome home. My name is Chaplain Megan Hodge. I'm the 2nd Brigade Chaplain, and this has been your guidance under fire.
Great guidance, ma'am. A topic the 101st family is very familiar with. And if you have any questions or concerns about anything, your unit ministry teams are always there for you. Now, the Strike heroes who have made the ultimate sacrifice will never be forgotten and always remembered. Sergeant Lamisha Davis has more.
248 flags, 248 trees, each representing a Strike soldier and hero that lost their lives while paving the way for peace. Every year, we honor those soldiers and remember their legacy. This is their story.
248 names, 248 soldiers, 248 spouses, parents, siblings, sons, and daughters, all lost in a single tragic instant, but kept in memory for a lifetime. The Gander Memorial Ceremony has been a celebration of life and remembrance of those lost on December 12, 1985. Families lost their courageous soldiers of former 3rd Battalion, 502nd Infantry Regiment in a plane crash in Gander, Newfoundland, while returning home from a peacekeeping mission in Sinai, Egypt. Every year since that tragic day, soldiers and family members have gathered from across the country to pay their respects. One mother, Audrey Caudill, expressed why it means so much to her to be able to honor her son, Philip Ray Caudill.
Because I believe in my country and the young men who serve my country. I believe in it. And he was so proud to be a soldier. He joined because he wanted to. So it's important for us to keep remembering him and keep his memory alive.
Each family member in attendance lost more than just a proud American soldier, but a loved one as well. Amy Lawrence and Michelle Leibold lost their father, but remember him through a surprising way: camels.
He sent a picture back of a mama camel with a baby, and that's always been one of our favorite pictures for both of us. And every time we go somewhere and we find one camel, we find two.
And it was the last thing he sent to us from being deployed. So as a baby, I was 1.5 when he died, and she was almost 3. It was just something that as children we connected to our dad, was camels. So ever since, I've always had a fascination with camels. There was one year I think all I got was stuffed camels and camels to decorate. But camels have always been a part of our family ever since.
On December 12, 2012, the 27th Annual Memorial Ceremony was held in Hopkinsville and on Fort Campbell, where 2nd Brigade Combat Team's Deputy Commander, Lieutenant Colonel Townley Hedrick, spoke from the heart, reflecting on celebrating the lives lived in spite of the heartache.
You know, the Army is the greatest team in the world.
And as the greatest team in the world, I mean, the soldier's creed, part of the soldier's creed is, I will not leave a fallen comrade. And this is how you show it, even though we lost these guys, we're not leaving them. We lost them to the tragic accident, but they'll be forever remembered by this unit and by Fort Campbell and by the community. It's just part of how the Army works.
Despite the heartbreaking loss, friends, families, and fellow soldiers are able to find peace here and continue on the legacy that was set in motion by the 248 men and women of 3rd Battalion, 502nd Infantry Regiment. Lost, but never forgotten.
Sergeant Davis, amazing story. And so true, never forgotten. In case you haven't figured it out yet, this regiment's history runs very deep and spans through many generations. Sergeant Charlene Moeller knows exactly what I'm talking about.
The history of the 101st Airborne Division and the Strike Brigade is a source of great pride for each soldier that wears a black heart. Let's take a look back in this episode's Strike Honors. In this segment of Strike Honors, we are going to look back at the events and accomplishments of the regiment during the months of December and January. The 502nd Infantry Regiment was instrumental to the Allied efforts during World War II, like on December 16, 1944, when the Axis powers launched a massive attack in Belgium the Germans called the von Rundstedt Offensive, an operation that would become known to the world as the Battle of the Bulge, one of World War II's most famous conflicts. In response to advancing enemy forces, the 502nd Parachute Infantry Regiment left France 2 days later on December 18th and arrived in Belgium to successfully defend positions north of Bastogne. On December 25, 1944, Lieutenant Colonel Steve Chappis, the commanding officer for the 502nd, led his regiment against a siege of overwhelming Nazi forces at Bastogne. The Germans launched a fierce attack with their infantry and armored forces in an effort to take the town. The soldiers of the 502nd were spread out holding a thin line, forcing Lieutenant Colonel Chappis to grab all available personnel, including cooks, drivers, and orderlies, to build up his force to stand against the Germans. He skillfully maneuvered his troops and repulsed every attempt the enemy made to break through the line. Through his unorthodox methods, the 502nd was able to hold the line, and Lieutenant Colonel Chappis was awarded the Distinguished Service Cross. Elsewhere on the line, the Germans' 47th Panzer Corps launched several attacks on different locations and succeeded in piercing the line of defense. The soldiers of 1st Battalion 502nd PIR, with the assistance of the 705th Pink Destroyer Battalion, were able to halt the tank's advance and destroy the enemy forces. The 705th would meet up with the 502nd again when they transitioned to today's 1st Squadron 75th Cavalry Regiment. Fast forward, the year is 1967. On December 13th, Strike was deployed to the Cu Chi Base Camp in the Republic of Vietnam. From January 3rd through the 5th of 1968, Strike conducted the first air mobile mission in Vietnam, combining air, gunship, and artillery support on a search and destroy mission into the Field Hole Woods. During this operation, a new enemy base camp was discovered. The air mobile would later be called Air Assault and become a standard of the 101st. Though the brigade's history is marked by many triumphs, there are always tragedies and military conflicts. December 12, 1985, Strike soldiers of 3rd Battalion 502nd Infantry Regiment were returning home from the peacekeeping mission in the Sinai with the multinational forces and observers. Their flight landed in Gander International Airport to refuel. They were headed home in time for Christmas when Aero Air Flight 1285, carrying the soldiers and crew members, crashed following takeoff in Gander, Newfoundland. Every year, a ceremony is held in their honor. 20 years later, during Operation Iraqi Freedom, throughout the month of December 2005, 2nd Brigade sponsored numerous Sheik engagements in preparation for the upcoming and vital election. The local Sheiks helped set the condition for a successful election by assuming more responsibility for the actions of individuals in their area. Strike Brigade also worked with the Independent Election Commission of Iraq to coordinate for transportation of poll workers and ballot materials. Then on December 15th, Iraq held their general elections, with 2nd Brigade providing security for 27 polling sites within their area of operation. Over 98,000 people visited the voting polls with no incident. Also during this time frame, Strike had another rendezvous with destiny when on December 22, 2009, they received their deployment orders in support of Operation Enduring Freedom in Afghanistan. During that Kandahar deployment, on the 6th of December, Combined Task Force Strike completed Operation Dragon Strike, a massive offensive involving the movement of 8,000 U.S. and Afghan soldiers. This was a major operation that had each unit assigned to the Strike Brigade, clearing Taliban strongholds from Highway 1 to the Arghandab River. This would ultimately provide greater security to southern Afghanistan and give control back to the people. From the 7th of December through the 28th of February, Combined Task Force Strike launched their next major operation, Operation Dragon Wrath. This operation was to deny insurgents access to historical engagement areas south of Highway 1 and to keep the local population safe. During this time, units of Strike Brigade completed a security road that was critical in shaping operations. This security road would have manned checkpoints watching the road to cut down on the insurgents' ability to plant improvised explosive devices, but would also force insurgents to travel through the checkpoints to get to their destination. This was part of the continuing effort to influence the local population to assist in their own security. Combined Task Force Strike conducted Operation Fist in the Bucket from the 28th to the 31st of December to increase the understanding of local leaders using shuras, or meetings, with the local government. This operation was to show the people how involved the local government was in the area and to build the trust in the governance structure. The Strike Brigade's past is filled with pride and bravery. It is the accomplishments made by those heroes of yesterday that allow us today to respectfully give Strike honors.
You ain't kidding, Sergeant Moeller. The 2nd Brigade Combat Team is proud of its heritage and adds to it every day. You and Sergeant Davis are amazing at what you do, and I am glad to be working with you.
I'm Sergeant Charlene Moeller, and it was great to see you.
Hey, thanks for watching. I'm Sergeant Lamisha Davis.
Well, as you can plainly see, the Strike Brigade is doing its part here at home and overseas, and will continue to do so throughout its time. Much respect to the men and women of the 50 Deuce. Thanks for letting us tell your story, and thanks for all that you do. And remember, we are Strike Soldiers. I'm Sergeant Joe Padula with the 2nd Brigade Public Affairs Office, and I'll talk to you later. Absolutely. One and only Strike Brigade. Absolutely.
I am Specialist Thomas Jacobs. I am from Fort Bragg, North Carolina. I'm with Bravo Company 2 BSTB, and I'd like to give a shout out to Mi Madre.
I'm Sergeant Pierce with 175 Cav. Just like to give a shout out to my future wife Tamara and everybody back home in Richmond, Virginia.
Telling the soldier story is absolutely an honor, but by no means an easy gig. It takes dedication. Hey, Strike Brigade, how you doing? I'm Sergeant Joe Padula with the 2nd Brigade Public Affairs Office, and this is Strike Zone. Strike Zone is the Brigade's TV show dedicated to keeping you, the viewer, up to date with all the great things the Strike Brigade is doing right here at Fort Campbell. And on this episode, I'm going to introduce you to some pretty awesome things, like stories about joint operations and missions, segments like Hero of the Day, Guidance on the Fire, and Safety Sessions. We're also going to take a look back and pay our respects to the regiment's history, and of course everyone's favorite part of the show, the Strike Soldier Hometown Shoutouts. Yeah. So stick around and enjoy a show about the 101st.
The first of its kind to deploy in special teams to advise and mentor Afghan security forces on taking the reins and responsibility for the security of their country, a major step towards ending the war. Their successful missions came to a close right here at Fort Campbell's airfield, where friends and families gathered to welcome home their heroes.
Phone calls, Skype chats, emails, and letters. Anything to feel close to their loved ones far away, but no longer. The strike advisory teams of the 2nd Brigade Combat Team, 101st Airborne Division Air Assault, began welcoming home its heroes in November.
Ron, good to see you.
Strike's command team was on hand to welcome home their heroes.
As I look into this cast of steely-eyed killers, traitors,
long hours, and a lot of coffee. Bada bing. But Strike is very fortunate to have two correspondents within its ranks who know exactly what I'm talking about. Sergeant Lamisha Davis.
Hey, I'm Sergeant Lamisha Davis. Glad to be invading your screen.
And Sergeant Charlene Moeller.
Hi, thanks for joining us. We have a lot to share with you on this episode.
Hey, Sergeants, how you doing? You are going to be seeing and hearing from them often throughout the Strike Zone. It has been a pleasure to work with such professionals. Speaking of which, returning home from Eastern Afghanistan has been the leaders and soldiers of the Strike Advisory Teams. Sergeant Lamisha Davis has more.
2nd Brigade Combat Team was one of the
Hello and good to see you. I'm Colonel Dan Walrath, Strike 6, and you're watching the Strike Zone. Air Assault, Strike.